This guy used to be the offensive coordinator, assistant coach with the Patriots. Of course, spent a couple of years at Penn State, did a great job there, and now the Texans head coach. He's Bill OBrien joining us on the show. When you watch the Patriots game this weekend, how will you watch that game differently than, say, now that you're in the NFL, when you were at Penn State? Will you watch any differently?
That's an interesting question, Dan. I appreciate you having me on the show. I can tell you that I'll be watching that game as a fan. You know, I think that those are the two best teams in the AFC facing off against each other, and obviously two great quarterbacks, two teams that are playing really well. You know, I have a bunch of friends that are coaching for the Patriots, and looking forward to watching the game.
But if you're watching Brady and Peyton Manning, what do you look at? You know, what could you learn from that, or tell your quarterback next year of what to study? What do you see there that they put into play during a game? Not, you know, the preparation I know is important, but during a game, you'd say to your quarterback, watch that and look for this.
Well, I think you study more things closely off the coach's tape, Dan. You know, I think it's when you're watching a game on TV, although I can tell you that the TV games are really getting better and better every year as far as what they show and how they mic people up and things like that, players up. But I think you get more out of obviously being able to study a coach's copy of it that has an end zone shot and a wide shot, things like that. But, you know, again, I think that you can pick things up by watching the two quarterbacks, how they control the game, how they can control the line of scrimmage as far as their play calls and different things like that. But, again, I would say mostly watching it as a fan.
You know what? I don't know if you heard it. You probably did. But it's amazing the number of people who said that you got a head coaching job because you were able to yell at Tom Brady on the sidelines. like that somehow puts you over the top. You were willing to stand up to Brady. You didn't know the cameras were on you when you were yelling at him, I don't think.
I can tell you that you know that happened a couple of years ago, and it was a tight football game. We're competitive people, and that lasted about 30 seconds and was over. So hopefully,
but you seem embarrassed by it.
Yeah, you know, again, I think that I've had the opportunity to work for some great guys and coach some great players, and I think anytime you get opportunities like this, whether it was at Penn State or with the Houston Texans, it's all about the people that you've worked for, the players that you've coached that have put you in a position to have an opportunity like this.
He's Bill OBrien, delicately dancing around that question on the Dan Patrick Show. You probably remember verbatim what you said to Brady that day.
I have no memory of that.
Are you going to do press conferences like Belichick did?
I can tell you that it's important to be yourself and to understand that every team is different. And I'm the head coach of the Houston Texans, and you know, every press conference that I have to do, I will make sure that I'm answering the questions to the best of my ability and trying to do the best job I can to be myself.
Well, is it harder to be yourself answering questions or to try not to answer questions? Because that Belichick's mastered it. It's like we're shocked if he says anything.
Yeah, you know, again, I think you know, he's a guy that has meant a lot to my career. I worked for him in New England for 5 years, and really was a great experience for me, and I think taught me a lot. But at the end of the day, you've got to be yourself, and that's what I'm going to try to do here at Houston.
At end of the day, who has the final say on draft picks with the Texans?
Yeah, I can tell you, Dan, that'll be an organizational decision, meaning this. I think, you know, every strong organization has a good team that leads it, and obviously we are led by our owner, Bob McNair, and his son, Cal McNair, and then Rick Smith and I will work together to do the best job we can to put together a competitive winning football team.
Do you really think we're buying the fact that you guys may draft Jadeveon Clowney? Come on.
You know, it's funny. You know, a lot of people have asked me, you know, about the number one draft pick. I can tell you exactly what I've been doing for the 2 weeks that I've been here is evaluating our our current roster here in Houston. And so I can tell you that I have a long way to go before I get to the draft eligible prospects. So right now it's just a matter of getting familiar with our players here in Houston.
Do you feel like there's a franchise quarterback in this year's draft?
Well, I think that again, having had no time yet to watch any of these quarterbacks or any of the other draft-eligible prospects, it would be hard for me to really give you a report on the quarterbacks or any other position. So I think maybe that's a question for me as we get closer to the draft. But right now, I wouldn't be able to give you a good answer there.
But style-wise, considering who you coached at Penn State, who you coached with in New England, Johnny Manziel doesn't fit that. Is there a quarterback style that you're looking for? Maybe you don't have to name names, but is it that he's got to fit that mold more than somebody who's going to be a little bit more electric there, keeping plays alive like Manziel?
No, I don't think you're looking for a certain style. I think you're looking for at that position, you're looking for a guy that's a smart guy, a winner. A guy that's mentally tough, a guy that can throw the ball accurately, a guy that's basically obsessed with the game, meaning he wants to study the game all the time, and that's really one of the priorities in his life is being the best quarterback he can be. That's the type of quarterback you're looking for as far as the style, and all these guys every player is unique, so they all have different styles. I don't think you could peg one style versus the other that you're looking for. I think it's more about being comfortable with the type of person that he is, the type of player that he is, and the style that he plays with.
But Manziel's style would suit you if you knew he was all of those things that you were talking about.
Well, he's certainly an exciting player, Dan. I've only had the opportunity to watch him on TV, but from what I've seen on TV, he's an exciting player, and I think there are a lot of good players in this draft. But again, having not had the opportunity to watch any of these guys yet, it's hard for me to comment on any of them.
You were going. It appeared you were going somewhere after 2 years at Penn State. Had you made up your mind that you were going to leave? If you got a job that you liked, you were leaving.
Well, I can tell you, I love my time at Penn State, and when this opportunity came around with the McNairs and the Houston Texans and the opportunity to come here to this city with great medical facilities for my oldest son, the opportunity to be the head coach of a first-class organization, the opportunity to work with Rick Smith, who I consider to be one of the best general managers in the National Football League. All of those things combined together really led my wife and I to make the decision to come here. We feel very strongly about Penn State, that it's a special place, and we're definitely grateful for the fact that they gave me my first head coaching opportunity, and we'll miss the players there. The players were fantastic guys to coach, but we just felt like at the end of the day this was an opportunity that we could not turn down.
Tougher at Penn State on the field or off the field, that job? I don't think it was fun coaching there. I mean, everything was a challenge. It was a challenge, just like any coaching job, any head coaching job. Well, but you had the challenge of the Paterno people. You've mentioned that, and you said, look, I regret saying it, but it was there. It was something tangible where you had to deal with these people. So it's already tough enough going into a school with everything that is against you. Then you got people within the community are against you. That's pretty tough.
I think the biggest challenge, Dan, was when the sanctions came out there. 2 years ago, July, when the sanctions came out and all those kids had the ability to transfer without penalty, without having to sit out a year, and you're trying to keep that team together, I think, and then you're trying to figure out how you're going to get down to 65 scholarships and things like that. That was the biggest challenge. I felt like I said yesterday, the conversation that you've brought up, yeah. I regret that. I apologize for it, but I really felt like we had good support at Penn State, especially the student body. The student body was awesome there, and our players played hard and practiced hard for us, and we'll always remember that. But again, I think the biggest challenge was dealing with the NCAA sanctions.
Well, good luck with the Texans there, and we'll be talking to you as you lead up to the draft. But thanks for joining us, Bill.
You got it, Dan. Thank you.
All right, Bill O'Brien, the Texans' new head coach.